All right, this video will help you with your fourth day of math from your Thanksgiving packet. So number one, Debbie had 696 video games. Wow, that is a lot of video games. If she placed the games into 6 different stacks, 6 different stacks. I'm picturing in my head like a bunch of stacks, and 6 of them. I don't really know how many are in each stack yet. How many games would be in each stack? So I can already tell I'm trying to figure out what number would be in each of these stacks. I do know though that there are 6 stacks. So I know that I should label this group. These are my groups. There's 6 groups. And I know that Debbie must be a serious video gamer because she has 696 total. So I have my total, I have my groups, and I'm looking for my each. I know that when I have the total is when I divide. Don't get confused. We're not multiplying here. We're dividing because we're splitting them up and we have the total. So, make a little note to myself so I don't forget. Have total tells me to divide. Okay, so 696 divided by 6 equals something, or 6 times some number equals 696. This is already step 1 on your orange card. I wrote it as the inverse operation. So, what I need to do is I need to go ahead and label my place values. And I look at my largest place value, but I'm missing a step. First, I need to roll my numbers. So, my divisor was 6, so I'm rolling my 6s. 6, 12, 18, up, 24, 30, 36, up, 42, 48, 56, up, 60. All right, so I've got my 6s on the side. So I look at my largest place value, and I ask myself, can I share 600 scoops with 6 cones? Remember, I'm thinking, those are my hundreds, the flats of our base 10 blocks. So, can I share 6 of those with 6 cones? Well, sure I can. So I get my fingers ready. 6, 12, 18, up, 24, 30, 36, up, 42, 48, 56, up, 60. Oops, I went too far. 6. When I get to 6 right here, I have 1 finger up. So I write 6 times 1. But I know I'm looking for 6 hundreds, so I need to do 6 times 100. I know 6 times 100 is 600. And now I subtract to see how many scoops are left. 6 minus 0 is 6. 9 minus 0 is 9. 6 minus 6 is 0. So, label my places and I go back to step 3. I look at my largest place value and I ask myself, can I share 9 tens? Can I share 9 of these with 6 cones? Well, sure, it's not going to be even, but I can. So, I get my fingers ready. 6, 12, 18, up, 24, 30, 36, up, 42, 48, 56, up, 60. Oops, we went too far. 6. I have to stop right here because 9 is in between 6 and 12. So, I know the largest number I can get is 6. So, I have 1 finger up still, so I'm writing 6 times 1. But I'm looking for 9 tens, so I write 6 times 1, 10. Well, 1 10 is the number 10. 6 times 10 is 60. I subtract to see how many scoops are left. 6 minus 0 is 6. 9 minus 6 is 3. Again, label my place values. Look at the largest place. Can I share 3 tens with 6 cones? Well, no, I can't do that. So I look at the next place too and I unbundle. Can I share 36 ones with 6 cones? Well, sure. 6, 12, 18, up, 24, 30, 36, up, 42, 48, 56, up, 60. Oops, we went too far. 6, 12, 18, up, 24, 30, 36, up. I have 6 fingers up, so 6 times 6. I'm looking for 36 ones, so I do 6 times 6 ones, which is 36. I subtract to see how many scoops I still have to share. 36 minus 36 is 0. So I get my cone ready. And I add my scoop on top. 100 plus 10 plus 6 is 116. I have 0 left over, so there's no cherry on top. There's no remainder. There's no scoops left over. So my answer would be 116. Remember, if I wanted to check this, I would do the top part of my ice cream cone. 6 times 116, and I should get my original quotient from right here, 696. Now, when I go back up here and look at this word problem, I need to read it and make sure my answer makes sense. How many games would be in each stack? So, would it make sense if each of these was 116, there you go. If each of those was 116 and she had a total of 696 and there were 6 of those groups, would that make sense? Well, yeah, that seems like it makes sense because this is about 100. So 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. This is about 700, so I'm pretty close. Not exactly, but if I wanted to be sure, I would use my multiplication. So how many games would be in each stack? 116 games would be in each stack. That would be my final answer. Now we're on to day 5 of the math homework from your Thanksgiving pack. So the very last packet, the very last sheet of your math. This is where these problems came from. So these are dividing, but they also require that you can interpret the remainder. So you have to be able to figure out if there's a number left over, what does that mean? So let's look at number 1. It takes 8 grams of plastic to make a ruler. So, I'm already thinking 8 grams equals 1 ruler. Okay. If a company had 828 grams of plastic, they had 828 grams of plastic, how many entire rulers could they make? Okay. I know that 828 is my total. That's the total amount of plastic they have. So I have my total. 8 grams. Well, I know that it takes 8 grams to make 1 ruler. So 8 is not my number of groups. It's not saying 8 groups of rulers. It's saying 8 each. So I know this is my each. So I have my total. I have my each. I need to find the number of groups. So how many entire rulers? That's going to tell me my group. So I know what I need to do is I need to divide. So 828 divided by 8 equals some mysterious number. And I use my orange card for my steps with the ice cream code method. And the first one says do the inverse operation, which would be multiplication. So 8 times some number equals 828. So the first thing I need to do is roll my divisor, which is 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. All right, so I've got my numbers rolled. I can label these places, ones, tens, hundreds. Can I share 8 hundreds with 8 cones? Can I share 8 of those with 8 things? Yeah, well, of course I can. So I roll my numbers. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Oops, I went too far. 8. I have 1 finger up, so 8 times 1. But I'm looking for 800, so I do 8 times 100, which is 800. To see how many scoops are still left, I need to subtract. 828 minus 800 is 28. I repeat those same steps, so I label my places. Look at the largest one. Can I share 2 tens with 8 cones? No, not quite. So I need to decompose it or unbundle it. Can I share 28 ones with 8 cones? Well, sure. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Oops, I went too far. 8, 16, 24. I have to stop right here because 28 would be in between those two numbers. Remember, think of this as a vertical number line. So, okay, I have 4 fingers up. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3. 3 fingers up. 8 times 3. And I'm looking for 28 ones, so I do 8 times 3 ones, which is 24. 28 minus 24 is 4. I go back to step 3. Can I share 4 ones with 8 cones? No, that's not going to work. This number is too small. So, I get my cone ready. And I add my scoop on top. 100 plus 3 is 103. 4 is not enough for a scoop, so I add my cherry. Whoop-de-doop. So I got an answer of 103, remainder 4. Now I need to look and see what does that actually mean. So my question said how many entire rulers could they make? Can you make 103 remainder 4 rulers? No, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking to myself, I know they have enough to make 103, but I'm trying to figure out, do they have enough to make 104? Well, they only have remainder 4 left over. And I know that my divisor was 8, so 4 is half of 8. So it's kind of like they have enough for 103 and a half rulers. But I know that doesn't make any sense. So do they have enough for 104 rulers? Can they just say we just round this number up? Well, no, they don't have enough for 104 rulers. So this remainder does not always mean you round up or you round down or you add one or you subtract one. You have to really figure out what is this asking me. So I know this piece is left over. That's not enough to make a full ruler, and nobody makes a half of a ruler. So I know that they only have enough to make 103 rulers. So 103 rulers would be my answer for number 1. All right, let's quickly look at a different one where the remainder will have to be interpreted a little bit differently. So number 10 on this sheet. A baker had 2 boxes for donuts. He ended up making 551 donuts. Whoa. I would love 551 donuts. Okay, and splitting them evenly, ooh, that's already telling me I think I'm going to divide, between the boxes. So there's a total of 551 donuts. And this baker is splitting them into 2 boxes. So I am just like picturing in my head, whoa, lots of donuts, and they definitely have sprinkles. And I know that the baker is putting them into 2 boxes. So this picture that I'm making in my head is kind of helping me see, oh, I need to divide these numbers. So when I look at the question, it says, how many extra donuts did he end up with? They're not asking me how many are in each box. They're asking me how many extra did he end up with. I'm not exactly sure what that means yet, but I'm going to go ahead and divide. So 551 divided by 2 boxes equals some number, or 2 times some number equals 551. The very first thing I need to do is roll my 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. All right, so I've got my 1s, 10s, 100s. Can I share 500s with 2 cones? Sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Oops, I went too far. 2, 4. I have 2 fingers up. And I know, I'm looking for 500, so I need to multiply 2 times 200. 2 times 200 is 400. I subtract to see how many are left. I have 151 left. So 1s, 10s, 100s. Can I share 100 scoops with 2 cones? No, I can't share this flat between 2 things. I would need to decompose it or unbundle it. Can I share 15 10 scoops with 2 cones? Well, sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Oops, I went too far. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I have 7 fingers up. And I'm looking for 15 10s, so I need to multiply 2 times 7 10s, which is 70. And 2 times 70 is 140. I subtract to see how many are left, and I get 11. So, start with the largest place value. Can I share 110 with 2 cones? Can I take that and give it into 2 different groups? Nope. So I need to decompose it or unbundle it. Can I share 11 1s with 2 cones? Well, sure. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Oops, I went too far. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 5 fingers up. So 2 times 5 is 10. And 11 minus 10 is 1. Can I share 1 with 2 cones? Nope, that's not going to work out. So I get my cone ready. I see that I add my scoop on top. 200 plus 70 plus 5 is 275. And I have this one that is not enough for a group. So I add my cherry. Whoop-de-doop. So my answer is 275, remainder 1. But that is not what the question is asking me. It's saying, if he split them into 2 boxes evenly, how many extra donuts did he end up with? When it is asking me extra, that's telling me right away they want to know what is the remainder, what is left out. So I'm thinking, okay, back to my picture over here. I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be 275 in this box and 275 in this box. And then there's this one poor little sprinkle donut left over. So if they're asking me how many extra donuts did he end up with, he ended up with 1 extra because 1 is my remainder and it's my cherry on my ice cream cone. So my answer to this question would be 1 extra donut left. I love donuts.